The story of Esther. Once upon a time, in the vast empire of Persia, under the reign of King Xerxes, there lived a young Jewish woman named Esther. Esther was an orphan, raised by her kind and wise cousin Mordecai, who loved her like his own daughter. Though Esther lived in Susa, the heart of the empire, her Jewish heritage remained a quiet secret, as Mordecai had advised her to keep it hidden for her safety. One day, King Xerxes decided to host a grand feast that lasted 180 days to display the wealth and majesty of his kingdom. At the end of this celebration, he summoned his queen, Vashti, to appear before his guests wearing her royal crown, so he could showcase her beauty. Queen Vashti, however, refused to obey the king's command, maintaining her dignity. This act of defiance enraged King Xerxes, and upon the advice of his counselors, he removed Vashti from her position as queen. After some time, the king's advisors suggested a plan to find a new queen. They proposed that all the beautiful young women of the empire be brought to the palace where the king could choose his new queen. Among those selected was Esther, whose beauty and grace were unmatched. Before she left, Mordecai reminded her, "Do not reveal your people or your lineage, Esther. Trust in God's plan." In the palace, Esther underwent months of preparation under the care of Haggai, the eunuch in charge of the women. She received special treatments and was given the best accommodations because Haggai favored her. When Esther's turn came to meet King Xerxes, her humble and gentle nature captivated him. The king placed the royal crown on her head and declared her queen, unaware of her Jewish heritage. Meanwhile, Mordecai frequently lingered near the palace gates to learn about Esther's well-being. One day, while at the gates, he overheard two of the king's officers plotting to assassinate Xerxes. Mordecai quickly informed Esther, who relayed the message to the king, giving credit to Mordecai. The conspirators were caught and executed, and the event was recorded in the royal chronicles. Sometime later, a man named Haman rose to power as the king's chief advisor. Haman was arrogant and demanded that everyone bow to him. Mordecai, steadfast in his faith, refused to bow. Enraged by this defiance, Haman devised a plan to destroy not only Mordecai but all the Jews in the empire. He cast lots, or Purim, to determine the date of their annihilation and deceived King Xerxes into signing a decree to carry out this plan. When Mordecai learned of the decree, he tore his clothes, donned sackcloth, and mourned publicly. News of his distress reached Esther, and she sent a servant to inquire about it. Mordecai sent back a message. "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone will escape. If you remain silent, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther, though terrified, resolved to act. She sent word to Mordecai saying, "Gather all the Jews in Susa to fast for me for 3 days and nights. I and my attendants will do the same. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish." On the 3rd day, dressed in her royal robes, Esther approached the king's throne. King Xerxes, upon seeing her, extended his golden scepter, sparing her life. "What is it, Queen Esther? What is your request? Even up to half the kingdom, it will be given to you," he said. Esther replied, "If it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come to a banquet I have prepared." At the banquet, the king again asked Esther, "What is your request? It will be granted." Esther, with great composure, said, "Let the king and Haman come to another banquet tomorrow, and I will answer the king's question." That night, Xerxes could not sleep and ordered the royal chronicles to be read to him. He was reminded of Mordecai's role in saving his life. "What honor has been given to Mordecai for this?" the king asked. When he learned that nothing had been done, he decided to reward Mordecai. The next morning, Haman arrived at the palace, intending to seek permission to execute Mordecai. Before he could speak, the king asked him what should be done for the man the king delights to honor. Believing the king was referring to him, Haman suggested an elaborate parade with royal robes and a horse. To his shock, the king ordered him to honor Mordecai in this way. Haman was humiliated as he led Mordecai through the city, proclaiming, "This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor." That evening, at Esther's second banquet, the king asked her again, "What is your request? It will be granted." With courage, Esther replied, "Grant me my life and spare my people, for we have been sold to destruction, slaughter, and annihilation." The king, shocked, demanded, "Who is he? Where is the man who has dared to do such a thing?" Esther pointed to Haman. The adversary and enemy is this vile Haman. Enraged, the king stormed out into the garden. Haman, realizing his fate, begged Esther for mercy. When the king returned, he found Haman falling onto Esther's couch. Misinterpreting the scene, the king ordered Haman's immediate execution on the gallows Haman had built for Mordecai. With Haman's death, the king issued a new decree allowing the Jews to defend themselves. On the appointed day, the Jews triumphed over their enemies, and the festival of Purim was established to commemorate their deliverance. Thus, through courage, faith, and divine providence, Esther saved her people and secured their place in history as a testament to the power of standing firm in the face of adversity.